Hey everyone, and welcome to another meeting of the Tropical Rum Society. As always, I'm Matt, and if you've been watching these videos for a couple of weeks, you'll notice we have a much more luscious background today than we have for the past few episodes. So, today, I am in Thailand. This time, I'm down in Phuket, and I figured since we have such a nice, tropical surroundings, that it only makes sense, being the Tropical Rum Society, to be out here in nature, with the sunshine, with the plants, with the humidity, to take a look at today's rum. Now, if you're wondering what rum it is that we're looking at today, the first thing I would say is, why didn't you check the title of the video? But if you didn't happen to do that, we are taking a look at Chalong Bay rum, which is produced locally here in Phuket. So from what I can gather, the people who produce Chalong Bay go out and find local Thai sugarcane farmers who hand harvest their indigenous single variety sugarcane that gets selected by the distillers, and they fresh press it into a first press juice, which is what is actually used for the fermentation and the distillation process. The distillery looks for the cream of the crop when it comes to this sugarcane, and they only use ones that have been grown without the use of chemical fertilizers or pesticides. So a very sustainable process, and again, working with those local Thai farmers to use only Thai sugarcane for their product. Look at that, we have multiple locations today and everything. Anyway, so once this has been pressed into a juice and used for fermentation, the distillation process is actually based on French tradition. And we have some more mopeds and motorbikes going by. Happens the whole time. One of the joys of Thailand, but does not make filming easy. Anyway, as I was saying, it's a French process for the distillation. So there's a copper still involved. Couldn't find out if it was pot or column still, but it is made in France, which makes this more of a rum agricole style, which we haven't really looked at too much here on the channel. So it's going to be interesting to see how this one tastes compared to many of the other things that we've had. Additionally, Chalong Bay has 3 different series of rum. This is series 1, which is their pure sugarcane rum. They also have a series 2, which is essentially the same, but it's infused with Thai botanicals during the distillation process. And then there's also series 3, which is a spiced version of the rum. But all of these 3 series are all white rums, and they don't seem to have anything that's aged or any sort of golden or dark rums. Also, an interesting note I found online was in the maturation section of the process for Chalong Bay, which says that it's rested for 8 months. Now, usually you would do maturation in an oak barrel. That's a pretty standard thing. But based on the photos online, like the little graphic that they have on the website, as well as just the color, I don't think they do it in oak barrels. I think they're talking about just resting it in stainless steel tanks before they bottle it. I don't know for certain, it doesn't actually say, but that's my guess. We've moved over to the shade because, as you can possibly see, I am sweating profusely. It is a very warm day today, so I am very much looking forward to drinking some of this to cool off. But before we get to that, let's talk a little bit about this rum itself. So, Chalong Bay Pure 001 series is a 40% ABV spirit, and as we've already mentioned, it's made from Thai sugarcane. So, it's possibly a rum agricole. Doesn't necessarily say that anywhere on the label or on the website that I could find. But what it does have are a few gold medals on here. So we can see there's 2 gold medals on the bottle from 2018 and 2019, leading to me to believe that this is going to be a somewhat decent spirit, or at the very least, much better than the last 2 episodes. Now, before we go inside and have a taste, there's just one other thing that I want to say about the labeling that has got me a little bit confused. So this has a medal from 2018, but the label on my particular one says that it was bottled in September 2022, but it also says that it's from batch 1. So I'm very confused how that works. Like, I don't know if this batch 1 was just absolutely massive and they're still selling through it or what, but maybe it could just be some labeling confusion. I'm not really sure. It seems a bit strange to me. So if you have any knowledge or any theories or even like conspiracy theories about what's going on, drop them in the comments down below while I head inside. And let's go give this thing a taste. So we're inside now, out of the heat, which is great. Unfortunately, it's not quite as tropical in here, but it does have air conditioning, which is much, much nicer than standing out there in the sun. Now, today I have something that I didn't have for the past couple of meetings, which is a somewhat appropriate glass to drink this rum out of. So we don't have giant, like, lowball glasses today. Now, it's not like a tasting glass exactly, but it does say Phuket on it. It's bright, it's colorful, it's fun, and it's as close as I could get to a tasting glass while I'm here in Thailand. So let's get this poured into it and have a bit of a smell. So we're doing this out on the balcony just to get a little bit more of those tropics in while we have them there. So first things first, it's a cork top, but it was quite tight, so I was not able to do it one-handed. But one thing we didn't really discuss is the label here. It's quite lovely. Like, it's very nice. It's got a little bit of a rustic vibe to it. The Spirit of Phuket, their little tagline, very cute. And the Chalong Bay here has a nice raised lettering on the glass, which is quite nice. So let's get this into the glass and have a bit of a smell. That was probably way too much. And we're back at the white wall again. Time to give this a bit of a smell. So the first thing that stands out to me is that this doesn't smell like most of the rums that we've had before. This definitely smells more like that rum agricole style. It's definitely got some much more like grassy, herbaceous notes. There's still a bit of sweetness to it. And it is not as rough as I was expecting it to be. Like, I was definitely thinking that this would be pretty harsh to the nose, but surprisingly, it's not burning my nostrils or anything like that. But yeah, it's definitely a very different style of rum, definitely a different style of smell. I don't mind it. It is nice to change things up from time to time, and this is definitely the best Thai rum I've smelled so far, even though I'm spilling it down myself because, yeah, turns out I poured too much. Surprise, surprise. Welcome to me pouring things. Anyway, those are the main things that I get out of this. Maybe a little bit of pepper to it as well, like a black pepper. But it's very fresh smelling, very light, very grassy. So, moving on to the taste. Interestingly, that started off really smooth and like almost flavorless, but it is growing on me. Like, I'm definitely feeling a lot of warmth down here in my chest. It started to pick up in the throat, and the further it got down, the warmer it became. So that was really interesting. In terms of the flavor, not a huge amount. Like, I was expecting there to be more based on the nose, like some more grassiness. Let's have another sip just to see if it was that first initial one. Okay, so there's a little bit more that comes out in the second tasting. Whew. It's definitely still giving that nice, very warm sensation in the chest. Similar to the nose, there's a bit of pepperiness to that. Not quite as grassy as the nose, which is somewhat pleasant. I don't particularly want to be drinking something that's too grassy, but it's a very mellow flavor. Very simple, very plain. Not overly complex, but still quite pleasant. I think this would go well if you were to pair it with some other things in some cocktails. You could have this as a sipping rum. I probably wouldn't myself, but it's definitely smooth enough and mellow enough that you could drink this for a while without it becoming overwhelming or giving you... It's got a fairly pleasant aftertaste as well. Not bad at all. Another sip. Third time's the charm. That one's probably the nicest of it so far. Quite like this, actually. But yes, definitely probably going to be preferring to add this to something. I don't have any mixes here today, unfortunately, but if I did, I think it would be quite nice. So I'm down here on the beach to wrap things up with some final thoughts on Chalong Bay. Lovely little rum agricole. I know it doesn't say it on the bottle or the website, but that's what I'm going to call it, a rum agricole. It had the flavor profile of one. It was grassy, it was light, it was mellow. Definitely one that you could sip by itself if you wanted. Probably would be good for mixing if you had something to mix it with. I did not, but that's okay. I also don't have a shelf to go and put it on. So again, I guess this is just going to have to be one that I take a few more sips of, which maybe I might have done while I've been waiting for this sun to go down. Definitely one that is easily sippable. So that's going to do it for me here in Phuket. I'm having a lovely time down on the beach. I hope you're having a lovely time wherever you are. Thanks for stopping by, and I will see you in the next meeting.